Hello there. When people come to me for shamanic training, when we're getting towards the end of the time that we share together, I know that there's something that happens to some of the people who are training to be shamans, which is they've been through so many extraordinary experiences which have completely changed their perception of the reality that they used to know before they began their training. And they get to the point of, well, there isn't much left to do. I don't suppose it's going to be that interesting. And I thought I'd make a film about what exactly it is that we do at that point. Now, when it comes to healing, most people are aware that a really huge, significant period in the person's life which sets so many things in motion is the first 7 years. Childhood. We all know this, don't we? Which is why there are so many orthodox therapists as well as alternative therapists that will ask questions about the childhood, about the parents, the upbringing, all this kind of stuff. Which means this is all common knowledge. We're really generally aware of that. What is less commonly known is that other lives can have a huge impact on this life. And we do indeed, in the shamanic training, uncover and learn how to take people through the journey of burning the karma of former lifetimes. And that's really great. Also, people are becoming aware slowly and gradually that the influence of the ancestors is very important in our health and well-being. However, what no one ever talks about at all is what I'm here to talk about with you this morning. It surprises me. I still don't know anyone outside of the people who've been trained by my teacher to do this work. They must be out there somewhere, but I've not encountered them in any of my researches. So let's cut to the chase. It's to do with what happens to your immediate ancestors. I use the word ancestors. People often forget that their parents is where the ancestral line begins. There's you, and behind you there's your mother and your father. Even if you've never seen either of them, if you are an orphan, if you've had no connection, you've still got a mother and a father. What created you? Yes, you have. So your immediate ancestral line for all of us is the mother and the father. And this healing journey begins when they have already met and shortly before they're going to have the sex together, which is going to create you. In other words, procreative sex, which is going to bring you into existence. That's where the journey begins. And we get to uncover the father's consciousness and the mother's consciousness at the moment when they're about to have the sex that conceives you. Can you imagine how powerful that is on its own? Well, that's where we begin. And we go through the whole process in great detail, the conception, the implantation in the uterus, the fetal development, the whole process of that new life, which is you, and was me, until mother is ready to give birth. When it continues, of course it does, and it continues through, they're ready to give birth, the giving birth, and having given birth, and the unconscious contracts which are formed between you and your two ancestors, your mother and your father, and it finishes 24 hours after you're born. And we call this the pre-birth journey. And it is without doubt one of the most revelatory processes that a human goes through. And it is my huge pleasure when I'm training people on their shamanic training to take them through this extraordinary journey. And as you can imagine, first of all, they get to experience that for themselves. But the point of it all is to train them so they can do this for other people. Can you imagine the number of people that must be walking around today that are not only severely affected by their childhoods, by what happens in other lives through the ancestral lines, but actually what went on in the most significant time of their lives. before they even got born, right up until they did get born and up to 24 hours after. Very precise, this work. Before the mother and father have the sex which conceives them, up to 24 hours after they're born. And what as shamans would say, we would say that this is an utterly crucial time in your life. And speaking for myself, it was an utter revelation when I had my pre-birth journey healing. It's exceptional for me because the way that I train people is that most of the time the apprentice is being assisted by me to do their own journey, and their journey is, if they're guided by anyone, they're guided by their guides and helpers. But this is a particular journey which is guided by the shaman, so if I'm doing that journey for them, I'm their guide. When they're healing their clients with this process, they are the guide. And it is a guided journey with the client, and in that process, and this takes longer than pretty much any other shamanic process I do with people. A good 2.5 hours from beginning to end. And that's a long time from a shamanic perspective. And in that guided journey, what happens is that the client is receiving the pre-birth journey, gets asked a total of 61 questions. And that's an extraordinary number of questions to be asked in the journey. Believe me, it really is. And the answers to those questions reveal so much. And I've just been given the go-ahead to say this. So when I was training, there was a lot of us. My teacher had a play group in North London, big group of people in a circle, all trained to be shamanic practitioners. And for us, it's our second year. And what really shocked all of us is we spent most of the second year only learning the pre-birth journey. The reason why we had to spend so much time is because every stage of the process was broken down, and when it came to the answers to the 61 questions, it meant that everyone had to give their individualized answer. And we obviously had to do work with what happened, and we ended up doing, well, the way my shamanic training is managed, we do modules, so we actually had a module at the end which was residential. The usual way I work with shamanic training is residential modules. There are exceptions, but that's my usual way. So at the end of his training, we would go there to North London and just be there for the day, go back the following day, be there for the day. Quite demanding in many ways, but that's how it was done. But at the end of that year, we had a residential so that we could cover absolutely everything. So it took most of the year because there was a whole group of us. Now, these days, I tend to train my apprentices singly. So when I train my apprentice singly, we can do the entire pre-birth journey, experiencing and training within one module, which is a 72-hour period, which is quite amazing to be able to do that. But it's because I'm focusing all my attention on this one person, and that's why. So I thought I'd share with you, this is actually the penultimate journey that I do with people in shamanic training. It takes a year, and we go through all sorts of things, and it's a combination of equipping you to heal other people and the deep journey into your inner life, because until we address our inner stories, we aren't really able to be that much help to people. So a lot of that is done early on in the training. But by this point, this is the most significant part of your personal story you have not yet uncovered when you get to receive the pre-birth journey. And then you learn how to do this for other people. And it puts you in this wonderful position, having such a big toolkit. All the shamans that leave my apprenticeships as graduates with full accreditation have got such a massive toolkit which they can employ with their clients, and it gives me great satisfaction to know that there are a lot of you out there. So to all of you that you've ever given me the honour to train you. I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you, because you chose to allow me to give you what is my greatest gift. I love doing this work. So it is my life and my passion. So I'm just going to share with you about this card. Now I have something called the Tarot Wheel of the Year. It's all free. There's 36 films. I think there's more than 36 films actually, on a dedicated playlist called the Tarot Wheel of the Year. Well, at the moment, the one that's relevant is called the Three of Cups. I'm just going to pull the Three of Cups out of this book, and I'm going to share with you what it says. So if you want to know more about this, it's a transubstantiation process based upon the tarot and the Aura-Soma tarot deck. Then this is what happens. So it's the Three of Cups. So this card is called Wings of Healing, and this is the mantras I'm working with this week. The nourishing light comes to me, I feel fulfilled. The nourishing light comes to me, I feel fulfilled. The nourishing light comes to me, I feel fulfilled. So if you want to know more about that, I invite you to go to the playlist on the UT Shamanic channel, the Tarot Wheel of the Year, and go to the one that is called the Three of Cups. And that's under the sign and the influence of Cancer the Crab. So you will have noticed, if you've seen some of my films, that the colour of the altar cloth changes. And the colour it was before this was yellow, and that was for Gemini, which is to do with communication and the mind. And we are now in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is very much to do with the feelings and the heart. So it's all about the element of water, in as much as Gemini was all about the element of the air. So that's why the altar is arrayed in this particular way. And I haven't even bothered to light the candle, because at the moment we're really in this watery place. And when we move out of Cancer into Leo, you can imagine having a lot of fire here. I will actually share this with you, which is this gift given to me by a very great friend. And this is sacred water from one of the most sacred places in the world, and that's why it's on there. And this little symbol is incredibly significant, because the rosette, which is made of red, that represents the rose, which represents the heart, and that shape there is called the blue vortex, and this is one of our primary healing modalities in the shamanic training. And this is the feather of Mart, and Mart is the Egyptian deity, but we really call them letters of balance, and very much about the harmonization of all the energies in this time that we're living. Well, thank you very much, and look forward to our next encounter here on UT Shaman. All the love to you.